Okay, today's lesson is going to be on larger, smaller type word problems. I'll explain what that means as we go through it, and then story type problems, which are very similar. All right, but let's just try the do now. So I'm going to read through and set it up, and you should do the same. The first thing that I'm noticing is that it's a find the number question. So right away, I'm going to write let x equal the number. This is going to be the easier of all the types of word problems you can get. Okay, then I'm going to take this sentence, which describes my legend, and I'm going to set it up. So 3 times the number is increased by 22, and the result is 14 less than 7 times the number. You want to watch out for those subtraction problems. Okay, solving, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And then I'm going to add 14 to both sides to get my 14 to cancel. And then you should agree x equals 9. Therefore, the number is 9. And I am going to try to promote with you guys that you take your checks back to the words. That's where I'm going to reread. So if I have 3 times the number, I'm going to do 3 times 9 is increased by 22. The result is 14 less than 7 times my number. And then I'm going to just do my check from there. This is going to be, 27 plus 22 is 49 is equal to 63 minus 14, which is also 49. All right. The only reason why I tell you guys to check from the words is because you're probably not going to make a mistake solving your equation. It's that if you're going to make a mistake, it's going to be in creating the equation. All right, let's go on to number 2. This is going to be introducing this larger, smaller. So I want you to notice that as I skim through, I'm seeing words like larger number, smaller number as I go through and I'm creating it. So because I'm reading those words, it's what I'm going to use when I create my legend. Here's another really good piece of advice to you. There are going to be sentences in your word problems that describe your legend. For example, this first one is going to describe my legend. So I'm going to highlight it in green, and in green I'm going to write my legend because they connect each other. So it says the larger of 2 numbers is 5 more than twice the smaller. Hanging out at the end of the sentence is typically your x value, right? I don't know what the smaller number is. So I'm going to write to let x equal the smaller. Okay, then I'm going to go back and keep reading that same sentence. It says the larger of the 2 numbers is 5 more than twice the smaller. 5 more than twice the smaller is the larger number. Okay, so now I have 2 lines to my legend, one for the larger number and one for the smaller number. Okay, now as I continue to read my word problem, I'm done using that legend sentence, so I'm not going to use it anymore. So I'm going to cross this out. It's already used. It helped me create my legend. Now what I'm going to do is read the rest of the word problem, and it's going to help me create my equation. So it says here that twice the larger is more than the smaller. Twice the larger, is 40 more than the smaller. So I'm going to create my equation from that. Okay, so twice the larger, which means twice my larger number. So twice the 2x plus 5 is my equal sign, is 40 more than the smaller, which is the x. So twice the larger number is 40 more than the smaller number. All right, and then from there, I'm going to solve. And hopefully you guys agree that we're all going to get x is equal to 10. Okay, then don't forget, take it up to the legend because you want to make sure you're answering the question. So the smaller number is my x value, so the smaller number equals 10. And then the larger number is your 2x plus 5. So I'm going to do 2 times 10 plus 5, which means my larger number is 25. All right, so smaller number is equal to 10, and the larger number is equal to 25. Now, when I do my check, I'm going to take it back to the words. All right, so over here, I'm going to read, and it's telling me. Now, remember, the first sentence I scribbled out in red, I'm not interested in it. I'm going to start reading from here, the twice the larger number. So twice the larger number, which in my case is 2 times my 25, 2 times the larger number, is 40 more than the smaller number, which is 10. So I'm going to put my 10 in here. And then 2 times 25 is 50. 40 plus 10 is 50, and it really does equal. So I just plugged it right back into my words. Now, this idea of the first sentence was my legend sentence and the second sentence was my equation sentence is going to carry through the rest of this lesson. Okay, so let's try number 2. Okay, so again, for this one, I'm going to highlight it in a kind color here. So one number is 2 less than another. Okay, fine. One number is 2 less than another. Now, I did notice in looking at this, I'm seeing words like larger and smaller. So I'm going to use the language larger and smaller in my legend. I'm also going to cut this down the middle because there's 2 ways to see it. All right, so let's go back to the legend statement here. One number is 2 less than another. Well, I don't know what either of the 2 numbers are. So I'm going to write let x, and I'm not going to establish what it is yet. I'm going to just establish the other one. One's 2 less than that. So I'm going to write x minus 2. So now that I have this, if I have x and x minus 2 has to be the smaller number because I'm subtracting 2 from it, which makes my x value the larger number. Okay, now some of you might have done it where you said, wait a second, what if I did x and x plus 2? That's okay as well. It's just that in this case, the x plus 2 is your larger number and the x is your smaller number. So you really can have done this either way. It does not matter. Some kids see the less than, and I'm going to say that this method here is probably most common. But some of you like to keep things positive, so you keep your legends positive. As long as one number is 2 less than the other, it doesn't matter. All right, now remember, this sentence that I'm scribbling out helped me create my legend. That means this next sentence here is what is helping me set up my equation. So this is my equation sentence, and I'm using my legend to help me do it. So if I read it, it says 4 times the larger number is subtracted from. So I want to notice that ahead of time, the is subtracted from. So 4 in this, over here with my blue legend, 4 times the larger number is subtracted from, and it says 5 times the smaller. 5 times the smaller, and the result is 10. All right, or, right, I'm going to come over to the other side. If you did the pink legend, you would have said that 4 times the larger, which in this case is the 4 times the x plus 2, is subtracted from 5 times the smaller, which in this case is just x, and the result is 10. Both of these will result in the same outcome, I promise. It doesn't matter which one you choose. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to solve this one. I'm going to distribute. And I'm going to get x, because these two are going to, 5x minus 4x is x. And I'm going to add 10 to both sides, and I'm going to get that x is equal to 20. Now remember, it doesn't mean I'm done. I'm going to come up here. The larger number, therefore, is 20. And 20 minus 2 is going to give me a smaller number of 18, which is my final answer. If I do the same over here, remember you're distributing a negative 4. You're going to get negative 4x minus 8 equals 10. This is going to give you your x. You're going to add 8 to both sides. And in this case, you're going to get x is 18. But remember, when you take that up to the top and you plug it in, I'm just going to move these arrows, I'm going to get that the smaller number is 18. And then I'm going to do 18 plus 2 to get a larger number of 20. And again, that's why it doesn't matter. So quick recap, remember that first yellow highlighted sentence gave us our legend. And then from there, the green highlighted sentence helped us set up our equations. Once you solve and get your x values, you plug back up into your legend to give me a larger number and my smaller number. Now I'm going to take my red pen and I'm going to use the words to do a quick check. And it says 4 times the larger number. So in both cases, that's 4 times the 20, and that is subtracted from 5 times the smaller number, which is your 18, and the result has to be 10. So if I did 5 times 18, that's going to give me the number 90, and then 4 times 20 is 80, and 90 minus 80 does equal 10. So it checked out. Okay. All right, let's try one of the story problems. All right, so if I read this, I'm going to kind of highlight as I read so you can follow along with what I'm doing. So Madeline spent 2 hours working on an essay for her English class. So 2 hours on her essay for her English class. She is going to spend, so on Tuesday, sorry, I just want to cheat. On Tuesday, she spent 20 minutes longer than on Monday. And then on Wednesday, she spent twice as long as she did on Tuesday. Okay, so that's going to be my legend right there. So on Tuesday, she spent 20 minutes longer than on Monday. And this is where I say, great, I don't know how many minutes. Oops, sorry. So I'm going to let x equal minutes, Monday minutes. How about I do Monday minutes? Okay. On Tuesday, she spent 20 minutes longer. So x plus 20 is going to equal Tuesday minutes. And then on Wednesday, she spent twice as long as she did on Tuesday. So she did twice as long as Tuesday. So I'm doubling Tuesday to equal Wednesday minutes. All right, here comes the best part, is since we knew that she spent a total of 2 hours on her English essay. Now, this is in hours when your legend is in minutes, and you need it to be consistent. So I'm going to take my 2 hours, and I'm going to make my 2 hours 120 minutes. Obviously, because there's 60 minutes in an hour. So therefore, I'm going to have x plus 20 plus 2 times x plus 20 is going to equal 120. Again, this is total time spent on her essay equals total time spent on her essay. That's her Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday times add up to total times. Then I'm going to distribute over here. I change up my color a little bit. We'll get so fancy. All right, so I'm going to distribute. I'm going to have, this is going to give me 2x plus 40. And then I'm going to get a total of 4x plus 60 equals 120 minus 60 from both. And then divide by 4. So it's going to give you a total of x is equal to 15. Remember, we are not done at all with x is 15. You're then going to take it and plug it back up into your legend. So that means on Monday, we spent 15 minutes. And then on Tuesday, we did 15 plus 20. So that's going to be 35 minutes. And then on Wednesday, we doubled our 35 minutes, which equals 70 minutes. Okay, and then it said, how long did she work for each day? So it says it right there. For Monday, 15 minutes, Tuesday, 35 minutes, Wednesday, 70 minutes. And the best check, short and sweet, 15 plus 35 plus 70. And you just want to make sure it really does equal 120 minutes, which it does. Okay, nice job on that. Right? And I hope you're getting a little bit more comfortable with picking out the parts of the word problem that help you create the legend and the parts of the word problem that help you create the equation. That is the hardest part. All right, question number 4 says the Tigers played 78 games. Okay, great. And then it says if they won 8 games more than they lost. So I don't know how many they lost. Again, kind of dwindling at the end of some sort of a statement usually is your X value. If I tell you they won 8 games more than they lost, you should say, okay, great, how many did they lose? So we're going to let X equal number lost. And they won 8 games more. So X plus 8 is number 1. And you should assume there were no ties, for the record, for this particular word problem. Then if you go back, when they told you that they played 78 games, it should, in thinking about it, it should be the total amount they lost plus the total amount they won is going to equal the total 78 games. 2x plus 8 is equal to 78 minus 8. And then divide by 2. So again, we get X is 35, so that means they lost 35 games. And then 35 plus 8 is 43, so they must have won 43 games. Best check ever is that 35 plus 43 really does equal 78. Okay, nice job, everybody.